Well, good morning. So I realize this is the third week in a row I've talked about darkness and light, and but I decided it was appropriate. It's still sort of solstice season, and um, and I'm still a little bit in this place of maybe this is all my imagination, but I have the image of people for, I don't know, thousands of years, being aware of the days getting shorter and shorter and the nights getting longer and longer. And of course, they knew of the solstice. They knew there was a moment when it changed. But I sort of imagine a gathering concern, anxiety, fear. What if? What if on the morning after the solstice, the sun were to rise later instead of earlier? What if the days kept getting shorter and shorter into the winter? That would be the end of the world. So the morning after the solstice, when the sun rises just a bit earlier, I call it sun return. And I'm just aware this year of what an incredible cause of celebration it is. That, because I think of our, electric lights, it's not so vivid. It is at this moment, at this time of year, really a period of gratitude, of thankfulness, of awareness of the light. The sun has returned and opened the path toward spring and summer. That's just such a cause of joy. So this morning I did a little searching to find yet another thing that someone said about the topic of light and darkness. And I found, buried in my computer from many years ago, a quote which I no longer have any idea where it came from. But it's clearly a conversation between two people. One is asking a question, the other is answering. So this is what is said. Question: how is illuminating the distinguishing characteristic of wisdom? How is illuminating the distinguishing characteristic of wisdom? And the answer: wisdom arises dispelling the darkness of ignorance, produces the illumination of insight, brings forth the light of knowledge, and makes manifest the noble truths. And further, the spiritual practitioner sees with complete understanding impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and corelessness. Question: give me an analogy. Answer: Just as a person might bring a lamp into a dark house, and with the lamp lit, dispel the darkness, produce illumination, show the light, and make manifest forms, so too, wisdom arising dispels the darkness of ignorance, produces the illumination of insight, brings forth the light of knowledge, and makes manifest the noble truths. And further, the spiritual practitioner sees with complete understanding impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and corelessness. Last week, I think it was last week, we read from a sutta where the Buddha said, the greatest darkness comes from those who do not know, as it actually is present, the Four Noble Truths. This is stress. This is the origin of stress. This is the cessation of stress. This is the path of practice leading to the cessation of stress. In their darkness, they revel in thought fabrications, leading to stress. So what are these Four Noble Truths? What is impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, corelessness? Are these three things separate, or are they actually one thing? The first noble truth is to understand, is to illuminate through insight, bringing forth the light of knowledge, what it is that we experience in every moment of our lives. And what we experience in every moment of our lives is called impermanence. That's nice. Nice word. Impermanence, just a word in the dictionary. What is it? What is it to be impermanent? We can't really know this without the part that in this quote is called corelessness. It is usually called that there is no actual separate self. Whatever language is used to describe the absence of separateness. Impermanence and the lack of separateness are two views of the same thing. Two views of what this is, what it is that we are experiencing in every moment. What it is that in every moment that experience is used to create a story, a thought fabrication called me. We see ourselves as distinct and separate. We see ourselves as disconnected. We see this is me, this is you, this is a building, that's outdoors. Am I the snow? Well, the falsehood of that question is the first beginning. Am I? Is the current experience snow? Of course. It's right in front of me. Is the current experience seeing you folks? Yes. Is the current experience the temperature in the room, the thoughts in the mind, the sensations in the body, the emotions flowing through? Yes, that's the current experience. That experience will not be the same. Oh, it already isn't the same. The experience now is different. Which one of those experiences is me? Oh, it's different again. This must be the authentic self. Maybe not. Moment after moment, conditions change. The lighting changes. The sensations in the body changes. The thoughts in the mind changes. All our sense experience keeps flowing and changing. This is the nature of impermanence. And the sense of self, the creation of self-identity, is in every moment depending on what it is that is being experienced through our senses. If our senses are constantly experiencing the flow of light and dark, the flow of phenomena, the illumination that produces the experience of forms, the experience of sensations, the experience of mind. Our practice is the practice of illuminating the flow of experience, seeing what is actually occurring in each moment, knowing what is actually occurring in each moment. And we are trained, literally trained, acculturated to move from the direct experience of what is occurring in this moment to a story about it, to thinking about it, to making up stuff about it, to fabricating. We fabricate a response to moment after moment after moment, and then we live in the fabrications as though we're, pulling a blanket over us to have like a quieter cave to live in. Darkness, yes, but the stress of the constantly changing experience is minimized when we put the covers over our head. And we put the covers over our head in the form of fabricating stories. Little bubbles, little world bubbles that we can go live in. Because we create the world bubbles out of our preferences, out of what seems safe and comfortable. Kind of makes sense to do that, except for a small factor, which is you can't see anymore. If you're in a bubble, the bubble is not transparent, you can't see out. You're living in the story that you've created. The practice is the practice of knowing, the practice of being aware of, the practice of being conscious of, the practice of knowing where our attention is focused and choosing, exercising volition to move our attention to whatever is actually true, the actual experience that's occurring, rather than the fabricated story that seems at the moment comfortable to live in. And maybe at the moment it is comfortable to live in. The problem arises because those stories dissolve always. Always. They dissolve. And when they dissolve, you find yourself back here. And when you find yourself back here, out of a story, there's confusion. There's a sense of dislocation, a sense of not being clear where I am, what this is. This is what we seek to illuminate. This is the first noble truth. The truth that every moment of experience is coreless, has no central being who's experiencing this. It's very difficult to accept. We have been trained all our lives to see separateness, to see other and self as separate. And yet it doesn't take much to notice that the thoughts you're having, the sensations in the body you're having, the emotions that are coming up are dependent on what's going on right now. If it was sunny and 80 degrees and you were at the beach, none of these thoughts would be happening. None of the sensations in the body that are occurring now would be occurring. None of the emotions you're feeling now would be felt. It would be wholly different. Which of those is the authentic you? Right? Is the authentic you the one at the beach? Is the authentic you the one that's sitting right now, looking at a screen? It's easy to figure out which is authentic when you remove the word you. Because then the experience that's occurring in each moment is authentic. But it doesn't last. It's impermanent. Even if you're sitting at the ocean and it's 80 degrees and sunny, all of a sudden someone comes walking by. Everything changes. They walk on down the beach and you're alone again. Everything changed again. The sun goes behind a cloud. A breeze comes up. An unusually large wave crashes. Each of these moments, who are you? Where are you? Remove the you, and it's not a problem. Where is this experience occurring? Well, that can be answered. What is this experience actually? That can be illuminated. The creation of a you muddies the waters, makes clarity very difficult. Bringing in the you is a really open portal to start figuring things out, to have an explanation of why am I? Why am I like this? Why am I doing this? Where do I fit in? What's my place? How does this moment fit into my life? And there we are, off in analysis and stories, no longer noticing the ocean, no longer noticing each other on the screen. We leave, we go somewhere. You know, the fact that we're able to do that is astounding. I know that there are many people who, taking up this practice, see the fabrications they get lost in as a bad thing. And when you see them as a bad thing, then when they occur, likely the experience will be colored by that word bad. Getting lost in the darkness of fabricated stories is astounding. It's amazing we have this capacity. It's joyous to celebrate our ability to do such an abstract and odd thing. To completely lose touch with what is in fact the experience of the moment and live in a world bubble. Making a nest, putting a roof over the nest, surrounding the nest with walls to keep out danger and discomfort, to pull the covers over our heads. And to feel a sense of peace when we do that is a fabrication. The house I live in is fabricated. It's built of thousands of components. It's built to protect me from the cold, from the wolves. What an incredible thing it is. What an incredible skill we have to disappear from the world that is into a darkness. Our practice is the practice of mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness is to see vividly and clearly what is occurring. When we are lost in fabrication, we are found by mindfulness. By knowing, oh, lost in fabrication is the current experience. We illuminate the darkness of ignorance. Ignorance is not being mindful, not knowing that this is a fabrication, not knowing. The Buddha said that those contemplatives that do know as it actually is present unbind themselves from the fabrication. The fabrication ceases to be a prison. And we recognize that the fabrication, this placing a roof over us, putting walls around us, pulling the covers over our heads so that we can rest in the darkness. With mindfulness, we see that in the end, this practice would cause great stress. Because in doing that, we're training ourselves to be separate from the world as it actually is. We're giving ourselves the illusion that there are ways to create an illusory world that works for us. That's a delusion. It doesn't work for us because impermanence, that shelter, that separate place to go in, it falls apart. It comes undone. You're lying there with your head under the covers, and there is a moment of great peace in the darkness. And then all the stress that caused you to pull the covers over your head in the first place returns. And there you are under the covers, and the stress is there, and the complex thought patterns of, what is this self? What's wrong with me? They return. The wisdom arising that dispels the darkness of ignorance is the wisdom of seeing things as they arise, as they are actually present, as they dissipate. Recognizing the rising and falling flow of the nature of experience. Knowing that this self-identity is also a flow. Allowing it to be and change constantly as conditions change. Developing the experience of equanimity. Equanimity is accepting what is and knowing what needs to be done. Not accepting in the sense that it's permanent. That's the confusion that people get into about the word accepting. It's as though what you're accepting is going to be there forever. It's only there for a bare moment. It's passing by, flowing through. Accepting it is simply acknowledging this is what is in this very moment. And in the same acknowledgement is the understanding that it will too be gone just a moment later. Peace, ease, tranquility, all of these arise when we illuminate the experience that is actually being experienced when we are mindful of the experience of the body, mindful of the experience of the heart, mindful of the experience of the mind. Resting in awareness is a much greater rest than resting in darkness. So with the return of the sun, our practice is the practice of resting in the illumination of mindfulness, of seeing things as they actually are present, of smiling at our fabrications and saying, "Aren't you a creative little cutie?" And opening, spaciously opening to the awareness of what is. So let's practice this.